Welcome to the Adrian Area Chamber program, Ask a Member. I'm Ann Hughes, President of the Chamber, and it's my pleasure today to welcome Libby Watson, who's the Executive Director of the Adrian Symphony Orchestra, and the Music Director and Conductor of the Orchestra, John Dotson. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good to be here.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about the symphony. We're going to talk about some things in the upcoming program here. What's your favorite thing, John, about the orchestra?
It's a remarkable orchestra because for a community that is this kind of population base, there would be almost no orchestras in the country that would sound like this. And the reason is we happen to be just located in a bed of great musicians who are within driving distance of our city. So having terrific, well-trained musicians nearby allows us to bring art at a level that is sort of astonishing for what people would expect. And I often find when soloists come and they've seen the map and they have maybe looked at it's going to be, a city of less than 25,000, I wonder what that will be like. And I have heard a number of them say, you come in kind of expecting the worst, and then the first notes happen and you're wondering how in the world is this taking place. So that's been a great joy to see that. And then I think the community support has been unbelievable. This thing is more than 3 decades old, and it keeps getting better every season. I think that's an incredible story.
And as a testament to what you were saying, about the guest artists coming in, I've heard both you and Libby and others on your staff over the years say they want to come back.
Yeah, I've never had one, knock on wood, who has not said they would return. And we've actually had some great luck with that, of having some wonderful artists who have been here multiple times, and really we have a relationship with them now, both with the orchestra and with the audience and with me and with the staff, so that now people are sort of on first name basis, and I suppose they Facebook each other and all that stuff as well. It's kind of nice,
That's
it's
great.
a rare thing.
And Libby, you've been director now for
3 years, going on 4.
Okay, and you were on the board of directors, right?
That's right, and a musician in the orchestra as well.
Yeah, the last concert I was at, I bumped Phil and I said, "There's Libby." She's in the orchestra. I didn't realize that until then.
It's been some years. I played the violin and violin. I think when I've played with the orchestra, it's been on violin. But when I first moved to Adrian 12 years ago now, one of the first things that the community members said to me was, "You've got to go see the orchestra." And then when they learned I could play as well, "You've got to play in the orchestra." So that was about the time, I think, we were in a search to find our next music director when John came on board with the symphony. So it's been a real joy to be involved with the orchestra in many different aspects. I was a volunteer also on fundraising events prior to becoming a board member, so I've seen the orchestra from all sorts of different angles now, and have really enjoyed the role of executive director. I have been able to meet so many new wonderful people through this role, and am just astounded by the support that we receive throughout this community from the lovers of music in our orchestra.
Yeah, it's a fantastic asset to our community, a resource to have here in a community this size, as you said. How do you determine, what's the process that all of you go through to come up with, here's the brochure for the 12, 13 season. How do you determine, is it going to be, you're going to focus on brass or strings, or who are the guest artists?
Right.
And how do you select the children's program?
Well, it's a process that is truly collaborative across the organization. It isn't just me. We have an artistic advisory committee that is made up of both members of the board of directors and community members. Then Libby and I have a lot of conversations which are just between executive director and music director, and those range from all kinds of topics that will input this kind of decision making. And candidly, we try to measure a number of things, what's working, what's not working in terms of serving our community, and then I think as we do that, we try to tweak and improve things year to year. So there's a process that begins, often the first set of programs that I bring to the artistic committee may be quite a bit different than the final product that you see, but they make conversation, and they start a conversation about. And part of that is just what do they know about, what do they respond to. Sometimes I'll play music for them and they'll say, "I really love this, I don't kind of respond too well to that." Sometimes there are agendas that come into play. We've had great support from the Stubbnitz Foundation to bring the artists here. All the artists since I've been here have been supported through the Stubbnitz Foundation. And having a world of world-class soloists available to you is an incredible asset to a music director. You can't even begin to know, because for me, often it starts there. This artist doing this piece or this composer, and then how are we going to build from that? And that just has been an amazing feature. So often it really comes down to that, of trying to get this mix between this artist is great at Rachmaninoff or Chopin or Mozart or Beethoven or whatever, and then let's see how, if we're going to do that, what does that lead to? Right now we're doing a series in the Croswell coming up in the spring, and we're going to do 3 Beethoven symphonies. And so that became kind of a driver for the rest of the programs of, we're going to play, and they're the even-numbered symphonies, which are elegant and aristocratic in nature, as opposed to the ones most people know, the 5th and the 7th and the 9th, which are these big, huge, slam you in the face, works. And so then and they really make sense in that space. That's a space that would have matched pretty well the kind of orchestra Beethoven would have had in his lifetime. And so then with the soloists, it became very much trying to match to that space and match to the symphonies and to put the things together. And it really does become kind of like making a menu for a dinner, and what should begin it and what will continue in the middle and how will it end. And then to try to have an emotional and artistic arc where those things make some sense to each other.
Okay, I understand. Now, the programs at the Croswell, you have the 3 Beethoven programs. Who are the guest artists?
Well, maybe I should let John talk a little bit more. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm pretty excited about it because we have 3 just amazing, just world-class people. I want to start with the last one because she's just a kid. She's about 19. Her name is Caroline Goulding. She plays a Stradivarius. I'm told that it is one of the 2 Stradivariuses that Josh Bell played and he decided, I guess, on one, and she has the other. So it's a darn great instrument, and the idea that we'll have a Stradivarius here is just sort of off the wall, that we'll have an artist playing a Beethoven concerto, and there's a good example. It's to match the concerto to the symphony, and part of that was just to get the key relationships, and also the Beethoven concerto is not like the Tchaikovsky, which is, over the top, great emotions, big stuff. The Beethoven concerto has restraint and elegance and balance and all these kinds of things, and to match the right symphony to that is an important piece. I suppose there are 10,000 ways to program that, but that was one of the things that went through my mind. And then we have this incredible artist, his name is Anne-Marie McDermott, and she's one of 3 sisters who are really well known. At one point they were a trio together. She plays both chamber music and she plays as a soloist, and she runs a gigantic festival in Colorado, the Vail Festival. And I asked if she would play Mozart for us. She's well known and she plays this Mozart concerto, which was Beethoven's favorite Mozart concerto, one that he himself played quite a bit. So that was, again, matching Beethoven to the repertoire and trying to have some interior story that people wouldn't know, but when you hear it, you can kind of hear why Beethoven would have liked it. And then there's this terrific singer named Abigail Nims, and she is going to sing what's called a song cycle. It's a set of songs. It's all in French, and the songs are about love and about loss, and they're called Summer Nights. And we're going to play that in the middle of winter, which I find a bit charming, but I was actually thinking about that these programs, in a sense, carry us forward during some of the dark times of the year. And she's a beautiful girl. She's a phenomenal voice. I heard her for the first time a couple of years ago, and we don't know each other. I'm not her friend. I heard her as an artist, and then I checked her out talking to other people. She's an overachiever, super bright, one of those people who really has a beautiful voice, but has now a career that's going straight up. And we're catching her on the first third of that career. There'll be another point when I know I won't be able to afford her, so I'm really glad we have her right now.
That's great. The symphony and your whole staff are such assets to this community, and you bring such richness And I love all the things that you do with children, you know, and we're running out of time here. I'm sure with John, we could sit here and talk probably for about an hour.
Sorry
without,
about that.
No, that's fine. But we'll invite you back again because we'd like to hear more about how the casual classics were developed and how that the community has responded to those, and the children's programming that you do to get the love of music instilled in the kids, you know, as young as the children that we see attending those programs. I think is just wonderful. We are blessed by your commitment, by all the talent and beautiful music that you bring to our community.
It's funny, I want to say one thing, if I may, because Libby 2 days ago was asking me something about the children's programs, and you know, the one I'm thinking about takes place a month and a half from now. And yet Libby was asking me, let's be sure we have this and this and this, because we're starting our process of our preparation for that. And she was saying, be sure you have this for me with enough time. And I thought at the time, I wonder how many orchestras take that so seriously that a month and a half or 2 months before the event, they would be pushing the music director, as you were, to get my pieces in order so that
Quite a taskmaster.
Yeah, she is a bit rough. It's not easy, you know.
But we do have a number of programs that reach a variety of ages.
Right.
We currently have 3 different programs where we can reach children as young as toddlers up through the high school years. So in March we will have our Family Discovery concert that will be for the toddler, preschool, kindergarten, up to 2nd grade. That will be on March 9th, and we're doing the story of Pinocchio. And then in April, we'll have the artist that John spoke about first, the one that will be playing on the Stradivarius. She'll be here for an elementary program with the school children. They'll be bused into Dawson Auditorium for that. And then later on, we've already had our for the middle school and high school age already this season, so our next will be next season. We'll have plans underway to address those age students. Each program is different and designed specifically for the age of the audience that we're serving.
And so many of the programs that you do, you know, reach out and touch a different group, especially the casual classics. I'm fascinated by those and your teaching that goes on beforehand.
Oh, thank you.
And,
A lot of orchestras
people can come and relax.
Yeah, that's the goal. I think the idea, this is not an orchestra that is for a very small group of people who live in a particular community. We're not that kind of community in the first place, and if we were, you couldn't sustain yourself on these numbers that way. We have to be an orchestra that's going to be owned by our community as a whole. That means we'll have to serve a lot of different constituencies within a season, and within multiple seasons we have to do that if we're going to sustain ourselves, and frankly we want to. This is a big issue for us and for our board. So I don't think we're an elitist kind of organization, quite the opposite. I wish other orchestras took this tack more often. I think it would help our field, but I hope that we're serving as best we can this community and trying to reach into people's lives where they are and try to serve them with the needs they have.
Well, I think you do that very well.
Thank you.
I think lots of people are well served by you. We'll ask you to come back at another time and talk more about what's happening in the upcoming season. But thank you for sharing your love of the symphony and your passion, John. It is so evident with both of you.
We're very lucky.
But thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Great
Thank you.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.